Welcome back to Michigan Storm Chasers. My name is Ryan. This video is going to count for Monday and Tuesday. Our next video will be on Wednesday, as there's not much to talk about this week, but we have one big topic to discuss, but it's still a little bit too far out to get specific, so we're not going to hash everything out over and over again. We're looking at a weekend system that is going to bring us some rain, perhaps some wind, and maybe, just maybe, a few thunderstorms as well. Let's go ahead and dive in here to what we're talking about. So, here is the European model. Moving this through all the days Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're going to be pretty dry out there overall. We're going to run this through Tuesday. Here's Wednesday. And then we go into the Thursday time frame. Attention turns to this mega system. We're going to call it a mega system because that's kind of what it is. It's going to be a very strong low pressure system that develops over the plains. It is forecasted right now to be around 975 or so, and that translates to a very strong system. And with a strong system means a lot of wind, probably some severe weather somewhere in the US, but also potential for heavy rain, heavy snow, perhaps a blizzard on the northwest side of the pressure system. But for Friday, we're going to see that system over the plains. We're going to see it for the system on Saturday, moving it up into the Great Lakes region. And we're going to get a lot of rain here. Notice how the entire state is in rain. The snow is well off to our west and north in the Dakotas, Minnesota area. They would have potential for snow, perhaps some significant accumulations there as well. But for the most part, us here in Michigan, we're going to be looking at rain, perhaps heavy at times. Now, the big talk about this system is severe weather. The big question you guys are asking is Michigan going to get severe weather? Let's go ahead and dive into that question, perhaps give you guys some better answers here. We're not going to say specific yes or no yet, but we do have some guidance here that does show that kind of leans us in more so one direction. So this is a CSU learning model. It is I'm not sure, I think it's AI driven. Basically, it takes all sorts of ingredients on the GFS model, the FP3 model, the ensembles, they put it all together. It spits out a severe weather probability. There in red, you see 30% or so is the red. Yellow is 15%. It kind of matches the SPC colors, if you guys are familiar with that. And then brown is a 5% or so. We're seeing Michigan here in a 5% or less, perhaps Berrien County getting in very close to that 15% risk. So right now for Friday, this map is for Friday, that risk is going to be highest across Iowa, perhaps Wisconsin, Minnesota, down through Missouri, Tennessee, Arkansas, back through Louisiana for Friday. What's likely going to happen here during the day on Friday, is this system will likely start sparking showers and storms out ahead of an approaching cold front. It'll be probably a lot of wind with these storms as they push east-northeast here. And depending on the amount of moisture and stability we get, we could see some severe weather, some tornadoes, some wind. Not really concerned too much for hail at this time, but I do think there's potential for severe weather across that general area. Going to the SPC Outlook, they've already put out a 30% enhanced risk for portions of Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, and Mississippi there. So you guys need to be on high alert there. I do think there's potential for a severe weather, I'm not going to say outbreak, but some decent severe weather, especially if we get moisture returns up in the area here that is forecasted. Now, one thing I'm going to mention here, we may see a marginal, it's a low risk, level 1 out of 5, extended around the slight risk. So it could look something like this, for example, where you have the southwest part of Michigan in a risk for severe weather. That is going to be because as that line of storms develops on Friday and pushes our direction, it'll arrive late Friday night into early Saturday morning. As instability is waning, we may see Western Michigan get clipped by that system if a line of storms does develop. So that is what we're going to watch here. For Saturday, the system did speed up some. For Saturday, the main risk is going to be across Dixie Alley, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, perhaps all the way up through Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, all the way up through Pennsylvania into New York. Notice how Michigan escapes both days of the higher risk. We're still in a low risk, don't get me wrong, but the highest risk here misses us to the west or to the east, depending on the day here. SPC for Saturday does also win at 15% slight risk up to the Ohio border. Michigan is not included in neither, or should I say, not included in either Friday or Saturday's outlooks. But Would not be shocked if we get added to a marginal risk for that late Friday evening. So, what are we going to talk about if we don't get severe weather? Well, I do want to bring this to your attention, the wind. Let's go ahead and take a zoomed in look here at Michigan and talk about the wind here just for a second. So, if we were to stop this Friday evening, we're going to notice the winds here are going to be pretty Friday evening, right about here, 20 to 30 miles per hour. But as we go overnight Friday, as that system approaches into Saturday, we're going to start seeing our wind gusts increase to around 40 to perhaps 50 miles per hour across much of the lower peninsula. That alone, especially if we get closer to that 50 mile per hour range, could cause isolated power outages, even if we don't get rain or storms. So that is going to be the big concern here. I would expect there to be wind advisories, perhaps some high wind warnings issued in the region. Do expect Saturday to be quite gusty, but also Saturday and also Friday will be quite warm in nature until that cold front comes through. So Friday here, we're seeing widespread 70s, or should I say Saturday, we're seeing widespread 70s. Going back over here to Friday, much of the same is true here for both days. So that is going to be a very warm, perhaps a very moist air mass. It's going to be very windy until that cold front comes through. It'll crash us down back into the 30s momentarily for your Sunday time frame. So overall concern, severe weather is quite low, not zero, but quite low. Severe weather concerns would be base for us if this trends properly, would be more so for a wind threat. It'd be a low wind threat at that. Okay. Overall, the main question, the main concern here, besides timing, is your moisture content. So we're seeing this as a US map of moisture. The Gulf down here supplies us quite a bit of moisture. But if we notice the darker greens here, that's your deeper, richer moisture. But up here in Michigan, we're getting these grays, kind of very muted greens, so to speak, for your Friday. As we move into Saturday, though, that doesn't really change. The moisture really remains off to our south here across Dixie Alley, maybe as far north as Kentucky. But for us here in Michigan, we're pretty dry comparing to the south here. So overall, we're not really seeing too much concern for severe weather with this system, but we still could see some changes here. So we're going to watch it. But right now, everything is trending in a direction where it's going to be really gusty, really warm. Rain is going to be around, but in terms of severe weather, not too concerned for Friday or Saturday here in Michigan. All right. Going off to the weekend, or not the weekend, but going off into the 10 to 15-day temperature forecast here, warm. Spring-like temperatures, 40s, 50s, and 60s for the Lansing area. Of course, you go further north, it's gonna get colder the further north you go for the UP, northern lower. But for most of us down here at population centers, Grand Rapids, Lansing, Detroit areas, we're going to be in the 40s, 50s, and 60s from probably here on out. We're not really seeing too much in the way of any cool downs, Arctic air filling in. So do expect spring to hang around here for us for Michigan. Could still see some snow showers in the UP. Absolutely. It's going to be colder up there. But I think we are going to welcome spring here with open arms. I don't see winter making a return over the next 15 or so days. So with that being said, I'm going to pop out of here. Enjoy your guys' evening. Enjoy your Tuesday as well. I'll catch you guys Wednesday for another update video here at the Michigan Storm Chasers YouTube channel. We'll post an update on this again tomorrow on our Facebook pages in terms of that weekend system. So if you're interested, do stay tuned for that. You guys stay safe and enjoy these warm temperatures.